We are going to answer a series of questions on palm wine will flow. And our focus will be on the importance of setting and revealing themes. We should be able to understand that the play can be handled from two perspectives: historical setting, which deals with the advent of multi-party politics in most African countries. It should be noted that multi-partism was a new wind of change that blew across Africa, as Africa had been used to being ruled by dictators. And in this question, you are actually supposed to identify the settings, say the actions that take place in the setting, and then show how they're important to make us understand the various themes, characterization, plot, and maybe other aspects of style. We can therefore begin with one, the palace. The palace is the place which incarnates traditional authority. It is the dwelling place of the fawn, who has inherited the throne from his father. But it should also be noted that it is here that most of the decisions are taken that affects the life of the people in the fondom. It is here that the fawn gives orders for people to be molested, for people to disappear. It is also here that the fawn gives instruction that people's farmlands should be seized and distributed to those who support him. It is also here that there are daily festivities because people are taking the revered red feather on a daily basis, and palm wine will flow. If you take all these actions, you realize that some of them highlight bribery or corruption, especially when those who take the red feather are able to pay for it, whereas it used to be a recognition for those who have left their marks in the fondom. The fact that the palace has been transformed to a place of pleasure also highlights the extravagant lifestyle in which most modern leaders or contemporary leaders live in. The very fact that it is from the palace where the chief gives orders for people to be humiliated, for people to disappear, and for people to be killed at Epang, the palace therefore symbolizes or highlights abuse of power and dictatorship. And the fact that power is inherited from father to son highlights tradition. Secondly, we can talk about the sacred grove of Nyombom, which is the place where most of the major decisions concerning the gods and the ancestors of the land take place. She Ngong spends his time at the sacred grove because he wants to have peace. Here he invokes and he incantates to the gods of the land and the ancestral spirits. Even when he receives threats from the fawn, he is not shaken because he knows that he has the backing of the gods. He tells his friend that the gorilla can do nothing to an iroko tree, signifying that he has the backing of the gods. It is also here that Earth Goddess pronounces a curse of drought upon the land. It is still at the sacred grove where the spirits and the gods empower Kibaranko, which does not usually go out unrestrained, to go to the palace and come back and cause the havoc which had been sanctioned in the realm of the spirits. Therefore, the sacred grove highlights tradition. It also highlights the relationship between men and their ancestral spirits. When Kwengong and the other women come to complain that their lands have been seized, the chief priest simply tells his wife to hold their peace, because the fight is not theirs. The fight belongs to the gods. We can also talk about the palm bush. The fawn seizes the palm bush and sends his thugs to beat Tapa mercilessly, tearing his tresses. In addition, they also drink all the palm wine that he had tapped the previous night. They do this because the fawn is insatiable in seizing people's property, especially those who do not see eye to eye with him, highlighting abuse of power and violence. We can also talk about the twin streams. When Sangong is tied to a kola nut tree and humiliated by the fawn's thugs, the villagers abandon the feast, the food, and all the drinks at the palace and go back to their homes because they have had enough of humiliation from their fawn. The women decide to meet at the twin streams where they are stark naked, and they pour their urine in a pot and empower Kwengong so that she can go and confront the fawn. Their urine is a death sentence on the fawn, and that explains the reason why when Kwengong encounters the fawn, it brings about the fawn's demise, highlighting women's empowerment. We therefore realize that settings are very important to our understanding, and the most important of all is Epang. Many people, the chief priest says that many people disappear, especially those with dissenting voices, those who do not see eye to eye with the fawn. And Gwe is able to inform the chief priest that people who disappear are killed at the Bad Bush, Epang, on orders of the fawn, who empowers Fomi Nyam and Fomi Eleme. He recounts how his own father had gone to the palace to ask the fawn to release his seized wives, which he had taken for his personal use, and his farmlands, and he had never returned again. And Gwe could not take action because he's alone, and therefore he is forced to do the dirty work of the fawn, highlighting man's inhumanity to man. I wish to remind us that every time you pick an element of setting, you must be able to tell us the actions that take place there. Lastly, after the demise of the fawn, the women asked that the people should gather at the marketplace. The marketplace becomes a symbol of communion for our liberated people, as the women tell the chief priest that they will no longer be ruled by a single individual or by a fawn, but by a college of leaders having a head, and whose power can be stripped away from him when they find him doubting. And therefore the women decide that from this moment on, they will meet at the marketplace, where everyone's voice will be listened to. And in one voice, they will take decisions that affect their future and their community. The chief priest decides that the royal bogle will no longer be used to summon the people in the village anymore,